And we are live. Nobody's in the room.
Hello, live. Where are you?
We're just going to say hi. Well, we're going to talk to each other and cheers. Cheers to Friday. Happy Friday.
That's what I say. I say, well, what do I have?
Oh, I got a cheers over here. An off-camera cheers.
Remember all temperature?
Kind
of what it is.
All right, so happy Friday. We got some people joining in. We've got some likes already. Happy Friday. This is the live recap of episode 11.
Who's with us? Who do we got? Who's here?
Let's see. I don't know. Announce yourself, peoples. I'll have to see if I can add it to the. Here we go. Here we go. Turn my phone down.
Somebody named Alice Geiger.
Yes. Hello, Alice.
Alice doesn't live here anymore. Good one, right? Really strong. Really, really strong.
Yes. All right. I've been dying for this. Uh-oh. I hope we don't disappoint you.
What's that?
Chris Bass is here. Hey, man. What's up, Chris? We are going to be, Matt and I are going to be on Chris's show, Savannah Performance Project, in a couple of weeks. We'll announce that. And then we're going to have Chris on our show in August.
And maybe somebody named Alice Geiger.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll be pitching for that next week. So let's talk about Valerie and the episode. Post your comments about it. We had such a great time on that episode. I think it, like all of our guests, I think we could have gone for another 45 minutes, an hour, and talked about all kinds of cool stuff.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, and she's magical. I mean, she really is. That's the person I've known for years, and she's incredibly calm and selfless, and she's just amazing. I mean, there's nothing I can. I mean, it's the whole reason I wanted her on the show is because she not only has a lot of perspectives on a lot of things, she's incredibly well spoken. Obviously, she's a brilliant woman, and she's just this.
Yeah.
He's like, everybody take a deep breath, not from your shoulders deep breath, but like really down low deep breath. Like really just, you know.
Yeah, totally.
I just love to stay with her because she's in freaking Vermont. It's beautiful.
I know, right? The Green Mountains. So if you didn't watch that episode, go back, watch it. Make sure you catch it. You will not be disappointed in such great conversation. And I think that all high-powered entrepreneurs need someone in their life like a Valerie, someone who can create calm, an anchor, someone who can help sort of, because we as entrepreneurs do this, right? I mean, we're constantly hitting highs and lows. Great, we made that sale. We lost that contract. You know, I mean, it's just, there's all these kinds of ups and downs through being an entrepreneur. And man, it makes all the difference in the world if you have somebody that can help sort of make those ups and downs a little less roller coastery.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, and it makes perfect sense why she's been so successful, especially at being a stage manager, which is, you need more patience than anything. And you know, as she explained the idea about, you know, so many different artists, you know, putting in their input, and she likes to how you build a house. Okay, well, you need this, you need that, you need that. Oh, yeah. There's a contractor saying this, but you know what? You also need the hardware for the sink. So it's like, you know, just adding things in, and I'm not surprised. I'd never heard her say that before. I don't know if we've had that kind of conversation to that depth before, but she's awesome.
I love that analogy. It's something I hadn't heard before, and I absolutely fell in love with that whole analogy of the building of the house. It's so on point.
Yeah, check that out. She's fantastic. God.
So keeping with the Broadway theme, let's chit chat about Hamilton.
Yeah.
And my first question to you is Broadway streaming, big business, Disney. What'd you think? Did it set off those alarm bells like you've talked about?
No. It's a whole different thing. This was, I mean, they've done this for shows before. They've done full on recordings of shows before and aired them, broadcast them. The thing is, everybody gets paid. It's all set up. I mean, Hamilton was so brilliantly done because it wasn't completely live. What they showed obviously were a lot of segments. They shot it 3 or 4 times, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a lot of those shots you wouldn't be able to get with people in the house. So what they do is they do probably some stationary cameras to do the beginnings of numbers, the end of numbers, and some of the places within numbers where they know there will be applause. So those are the ones they shot with live audience. For most of it, what you'd have is an empty theater, and the entire house where the seats are and the orchestra would be covered with platforms for steady cams, for up and down cams, for everything. So they probably shot it 3 or 4 times in a row. And some of those really intricate cams they had from the top showing choreography and things like that, they didn't do those with people in the house. They would do those on just shooting the show days. But then to make it very authentic, which was completely authentic, they did a couple of full through live audience recordings of it between, I think it was, they said it was August 21st and 26th of 2016, which also explains why everybody was sweating profusely. Just felt bad for Chris Jackson, just pouring down his face. Guy who played Washington.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way that it looked, I thought was absolutely amazing. It did justice to it. I was really fortunate. One of my best friends is he runs the box office. He's the treasurer at the Sondheim Theater on Broadway. And those guys try to hook each other up. So I got tickets through him twice.
Nice.
See the original cast. And paid the total amount of $0. So yeah, that's people. Go ahead and hate. I don't mind it. And I was blown away then. The first time I saw it, which was right after it opened, it's just madness. I had not listened to the soundtrack yet. The second time I saw it, which was the following spring, right before the Tonys, which was also madness, I had been listening to the soundtrack 4 times a day.
Okay, so then tell me what the difference is to you, because I think that that's a reasonable way to take a great show, right, and film it, do everything that you just talked about, and release it. Why is that not a way forward for Broadway?
It could be, but you can't do it. You can't perform the shows right now. There's no way to do it. You can't go into the theaters.
No, I get that right now, but I'm saying when we've had these conversations, you've been very much like, okay, I get it, live stream music, I get it, other forms, Broadway, live performances, stage, no way, won't work. So I'm confused. Why won't it work?
Because this is multi-million dollars, this thing, what they had to do. And but there's only a few shows that could do it. Hamill could do it because, as Lynn said in one of his reviews or interviews about the recording, he said, over the course of the years at the Richard Rodgers, apparently this many millions of people have seen Hamilton over the last 5 years. And he said, in one night, 10 times that will see it. And the thing is, you couldn't do that with every show. We couldn't have done it with Pretty Woman. Not everybody would have watched. Nobody would have bought it. People wouldn't have been paying millions and millions of dollars to Disney Plus just to buy Disney Plus to see Hamilton. Wouldn't have happened. So it's just not viable for all of the shows because they won't make it back, and it costs too much to record them, to do it well. If you want to do it shoddy, you can do it that way. One thing that people are lobbying me for, there's a library at Lincoln Center. It's the Lincoln Center Performing Arts Library, and for 50 years they've been recording every Broadway show. There's one time you do your Broadway show, and Lincoln Center comes in. They set up stationary cameras in the orchestra and one up in the balcony, and they record every Broadway show, and it's done very well. Then you, as a researcher, if you want to go to Lincoln Center, you sign up, you go in, and you can watch the original production of the Phantom of the Opera.
I did not know that.
It's fantastic. So now they're talking about putting their archives online.
Oh,
for pay-per-view.
right.
Great idea, because then you can just go and just watch any Broadway show you want.
Okay.
There are hundreds and hundreds of legal problems, union problems, everything, who gets paid, how does it get divided up. So it's just not a matter of keep Broadway alive, charge people to watch the recordings of the shows. There's so much lawyering up that has to do with everything. Not to mention, everybody has different clauses in their contracts. So it's not like you pay all the actors the same thing. You can't pay somebody.
But aren't those the things that you guys have been talking about that need to change? I mean, even Valerie kind of mentioned that a little bit, that things need to structurally change with the way Broadway does business. So wouldn't that be the place to open up and
it could be. It could be.
And rethink some of those things?
It could be. There's a lot of people thinking about a lot of things. Their main goal is to get people back in the buildings. Now, there's no quick way to do it. I'm very, very encouraged by two things that have happened in the last week. One just came out today, that the League of Theater Producers, along with our union and several other unions, have signed off on a 15-minute COVID test. And it's proving to be very reliable.
Okay.
And it could
you get the results in 15 minutes. Okay.
Yes. So that it could be something that might allow people into a building safely. You do run into these things that probably a lot of major sports are going to run into, which is what happens when these men and women start getting diagnosed with COVID in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
Or worst case scenario, what happens when it goes from, okay, you spend 2 weeks on the DL, you come back to the team. What happens when one of them gets hospitalized? It's going to be that way. So it's going to be the same way with any kind of live performance. The difference with us is we're doing it every day. Hockey plays 3 times a week. Baseball plays almost every day. Football plays once a week. I think it's encouraging. The more encouraging thing to me, and I hope that this might be a way around it, this new MERV system. Have you heard about this, MERV 13 and 14?
No.
So these are filters that you put on your HVAC, which can literally filter out COVID-19. They've done it before in different places that have to be more sterilized. It's the same.
Was this like? Is this what the church in Arizona was claiming, that they could cure? No, they were claiming they could cure you of COVID-19, not that they could prevent it through. Okay, never mind.
And even the kind of somewhat ridiculous things that even our president was saying about, injecting things or the
ultraviolet light inside that.
But apparently the ultraviolet light actually does work. It does. In other way, you don't just sit underneath it and it's dead. But the combination of these things makes it. I'm encouraged by the ideas that something like that, if you can remove as much of the microns, the aspirant that happens in the room, and it's the same technology they've been using in smoke filters.
Yeah, or airplanes.
But the smoke apparently, cigarette smoke travels as a liquid. It's liquidized, and they've been using those filters forever, even in those little ashtrays where you put your cigarette in and it sucks it out.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, if you can make every room, if you can clean every room, and then the biggest problem in a theater, even more so than at a sporting event, a lot of the sporting events are outdoors. They're much bigger places than theaters are. And from what we've been told, the easiest way to produce aspirant is singing. There's more aspirant produced as singing. You saw watching Hamilton. God bless Jonathan Groff. That boy just constantly just dribble mouth. King George, God bless him. I love him. He's a very good friend of mine. But oh my goodness, just a lot of goo. So anyway, there are some things this week that are encouraging. There was also a lot of very, very discouraging news, and so it's it's still a very, very rough time, and there are, as things start to move away from COVID, we've been very fortunate and very smart in New York, and our numbers are basically still kind of at zero, which is amazing. But that doesn't mean things are going to be starting. Businesses are starting for sure, but we're not doing anything. We can't. And
Yeah.
it's going to be at least through the end of the year, and there are a lot of other factors that are now becoming harsh realities, and it's catching a lot of people now because people are a little less worried about walking outside and getting the virus and getting sick. Now it's becoming, oh God, how do we move forward?
Right. How do you deal with all this? Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And of course we had the very bad news about our friend Nick last Sunday.
Yeah. So sorry to hear about that, and prayers to his family and
of course
to all of his friends. And
he's the face of certainly of the disease in our industry, and I think got a lot of exposure throughout the country as to what this thing can really do to you. And I don't care if he's the 1 in a million case that goes that badly; he's still no longer with us. And
he's not the 1 in a million, because it has happened. What, several 100,000?
Yes,
that many deaths now. I've lost track.
No, but when I say that, I mean that he's a 41-year-old, otherwise completely healthy guy who went in with one thing. They said it was pneumonia. They thought it was pneumonia. It wasn't COVID. He tested negative twice for COVID. And then one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And it was 95 days of suffering for him and his family. And
awful.
He mercifully got out of his body, which had been ravaged. And we now have, somebody up there kicking ass for us, and we need it. And, his wife, Amanda, and his son, Elvis, have an army of people who are going to take care of them. But what they don't have is their husband and their father. And so it's been a kind of brutal week in our industry. And we're holding each other up as much as we can and trying to find ways forward. And I'll share a thing on our podcast site that was published today on Broadway.com, which is it's a photojournalism essay that I started a couple of weeks ago that with some friends in the industry. And
yeah, I've seen your posts.
It just got posted today on Broadway.com, and it's
this is cool.
I started out about a month ago shooting pictures of all the dark theaters because it's the first time in my life, and hopefully the last time in my life, that all the theaters will be empty at one time. Even when shows are dark when they're running on schedule, not all the shows are dark on the same day. So, it's staggered schedule in New York. So they're not all closed down on the same days in New York. Now they're all closed. And then had the idea to put people in these pictures and to grab people from each show and to bring them back to their homes, which we haven't been able to visit in 3.5 months. And it turned out to be very poignant. It was very touching. They've been very emotional. We've also had a lot of fun with it, but now they're going to be posted 2 times a week on Broadway.com, and I'm keeping it up, and it's been wonderful to see old friends and see these buildings and remind people who either are out of the city or who don't live in Midtown and aren't around our beloved theaters, they're still there and they're waiting for us. And it's been,
I think it's very cool that you got selected. I don't know how that happened. Not because you're not talented, but that you were the one, right? They got selected to do that. That's pretty awesome.
I didn't get selected. It was my idea.
Oh, okay. So it's really cool that you came up with the idea to do that, so that it actually they had to say yes.
It was my idea. It was my idea, and then I called my friend Paul. I called my friend Paul Wonerick, who is the editor of Broadway.com, who's been a friend for a long time. And I said, I started this project, and I think it might just give some good mojo, to the people in the business who need anything right now. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So it's been as always an up and down week, but I just put a thing, switching gears completely. Has anybody been watching Perry Mason?
I saw you posted that. We haven't checked it out yet.
Okay.
Michelle and me, we have not seen it yet.
If you guys watching, thanks, Alice. If you guys watching us right now, if anybody's watched Perry Mason on HBO, Matthew Rhys, I freaking love Matthew Rhys. He's awesome. I did a couple of episodes of The Americans in the first season. Coolest guy, great guy. And it's a really cool, really gritty, really dark show. And at the end of last night's episode, it took this really strange turn. And I was like 2 3/4 of the way through 3 episodes. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then something happened at the end. I went, huh?
Yeah,
What?
don't say anything because I like the direct experience. So don't no spoilers. No spoilers.
It's one of those things. Everybody's been binging so many things,
Yeah.
during this whole thing, and I've binged freaking everything.
So we're going to encourage anybody who has been watching it with you to DM you right now, and
Yes,
you guys can
don't post it. Don't post anything on
don't
our.
post anything.
We don't want
I
to
do
ruin
want to go
it.
back to a comment that was posted by Alice, so we get to kind of talk about the next couple of things here. So first off, Alice has a great comment about being a manager, a general manager in a restaurant is so similar to a show, and so I'm going to connect to that comment because. And Alice and I haven't talked about this. So one of my first jobs out of college was a server at Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue here in the Carolinas. So Carolinas and Florida. I think they might get up into Maryland, but it's a chain. It's a barbecue chain, and I got a job because I heard you could make good money being in the restaurant business. Being a server. So I get this job, and I am freaking terrified. I'm just flustered when it comes to learning the menu, and I'm on the struggle bus for about a week into this job after training because I'm so cerebral about I don't want to mess this up, and I'm self-conscious when it really comes down to things. And so I'd walk up to a table and I was terrified that I was going to make a mistake and they were going to get mad at me, and it was awful. And then I had this epiphany, and I realized that I needed to change my whole attitude about going to work at a restaurant and make it into a show. And I could be anybody I wanted to be that day that I showed up. So I literally created myself different characters to get through the day. And I would go up to, sometimes I'd go up to different tables with different characters. Now, I never did voices. Now, I was really good at voices in high school and stuff like that. So I didn't make it stupid because I didn't want somebody to go, what? You're not British, but I would. So I connect so much with Alice's comment about a restaurant and that thing you have to do when you go out and serve people on tables. It's kind of like a little show.
She said, "Oh God, you'd be my." Did you see what she said?
No, what did she say?
Oh God, you'd be my nightmare.
Hey, I was good. I was a good server.
There's a song
after I turned it into a show in my head. So
there's a song called "It's an Art," and it's from a musical called "Working," based on the Studs Terkel novel. And it was turned into a musical in the 1970s, and it was written by all these different pop writers, including James Taylor and a bunch of other songwriters. And there's an art for the character of the waitress, which is a section of his book. And it's called It's an Art because she talks at length about how she gets through every night. And it's for, like, she turns herself into Carmen, and that's how she deals with people, turns herself into different characters every night. And it's not uncommon because so many, especially in our city, so many, servers are performers.
And I'll say this because I know we're on the clock and you've got to go to the roof.
No, I'm not going to the roof tonight, but
Oh, okay. So all right, we'll a little bit. But one of the things that I would do too, in the whole character thing, is the grumpier the customer, the nicer I got. Oh, it was so nice. Is there anything else I can do for you? And I had all kinds of enthusiasm. Would you like some more sweet tea?
I've always found that there's nothing more condescending than using the high status warm method. Going back to improv class, you have high status and low status. You have cold and warm. Yeah. And the high status warm, which is just staying, it's sort of like, Jessica Michaels staying above the battlefield. Yeah. It's just like you let people be grumpy and just say, I'm so sorry. I'll make sure that's taken care of, sir. Is there anything else I can get you?
I'll be right back with your next plate of barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm terribly sorry. That was our fault, sir.
That's right. That's right. I did drop that rib on the ground and picked it up and put it on your plate. I'm so sorry about that.
That won't happen again.
I promise.
You deserve better than that, sir. You really do. You really, really
I'm going to get you another server. His name is David. I'll be right back.
Yeah, he's great.
So Alice will be on our next drop, which is in week from now, our next. So wait, hold on. I'm screwing that up. The next drop is this coming Monday. It is Dawn Johnson, entrepreneur here in Rock Hill. I just can't wait for this to get out there. She is so cool. She deserves so much credit for all the things that she has done. Do not miss that episode. And then after that, the week after that is Alice's episode. She's going to come on and talk all about the restaurant business and other things like my namesake. I'm sure it'll come up, but we don't want to ruin that. We'll save that for the show. Also, I believe, although I didn't get confirmation, I believe we're going to have our first live guest who is going to pitch their product next Friday. Hopefully she doesn't let me down. And she'll be on with us. I'm not going to spoil it, but next Friday we'll have our first guest that will come on. They'll join us for the live show, and then she will provide an overview of her product and services. And so we're doing that also to kind of help entrepreneurs sort of get the pitch and, maybe help pay for the show. It wouldn't be a bad thing.
I have a fly.
What's happening? Oh, I thought you may have had a leak. You were talking about how it was raining.
No.
And you're close to the roof. I don't know. How close are you to the roof?
About 6 feet.
So you're on the top level?
I am.
Okay, so that's what I thought. You're in the penthouse, as they call it.
I bought one of these. It's the greatest thing in the world.
What is it?
It's a bug zapper.
And it zaps the bug?
It works. It works. It's violent. When you hit something with this thing, it's pretty bad. I would shock myself just to show you, but you get too much of a shock. That's it. This thing.
It, as you swing it shocks?
Oh, does it ever?
Man, that is brutal.
Best $22 I've ever spent on Amazon.
That's like Game of Thrones fly swatting right there.
I so wish something was flying in front of me right now because I'd love to demonstrate just how violent this thing is. But I get mosquitoes in my house, and they're not the big giant mosquitoes, so you can't really see them. They're the teeny little ones. But I just keep this like very near, and I just all of a sudden just see one floating. It's like, zip.
Nice.
So it's very
well, maybe we'll have the inventor on the show. All right. What else we got? We are closing in on our 3-minute mark for the top of the hour. What else is going on? Oh, my shirt. Anybody? For anybody that saw my post today, I have to thank Ryan Sanderson for my shirt. You can see it on the post. I talk about where this slogan came from. It's actually a slogan that came out of Insignia. We talk about that on the show that will drop on Monday. So Dawn's show, the beginning of Dawn's show, we'll talk about the T-shirt and the slogan. And I think it's also another great entrepreneurial lesson. This whole shirt has a lot to do with entrepreneurial process and spirit, and call it a little grace even. So.
And it's big script, as I mentioned before.
It is not subtle.
Stand up.
It is not subtle. Stand up. Okay.
If you're going to tell us about it, show it. It's fantastic.
There we go. I've done dumber things.
Period.
The actual slogan is "We have done dumber things" because it did come out of the ownership group. But now I'm spoiling stuff that you need to tune into the show and watch on Monday.
Do it.
So 6:00, the show will drop on Monday. And remember, we haven't had a whole lot of people take us up on this. Alice did. Go out, subscribe, take a picture, put it in the group so that other people see what you're doing, and then we'll send you the Knowledge Perk Club number. And it just so happens to get you a discount online for online purchases.
Right on.
All right. Let us begin our Friday.
Jessica Michaels needs my bug zapper, apparently.
Oh, really?
It's kind of like the proper room.
Alice said she got her coffee, and it's good. Thank you, Alice. It is good.
Did you get your scale?
Yeah. Did you weigh it out? Did you watch that episode? Of course you watched that episode. You watched every episode. You've listened to every episode.
True.
So yeah, we'll be interested when you're on the show to talk about whether you weigh coffee or scoop coffee. Cool. All right. Well, 7 o'clock, people. It's Friday. Have a great Friday.
Great weekend.
Yes. Have a good weekend. This is Toilet Paper Fortune Cookie, and we are out.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Order from Knowledge Perk.
Off screen, people.